I don't know if you know, but since Jeannie Mae passed, I've been keeping an eye on her properties for her. I think it's time we gave everything back to you, so take this key and make yourself at home at our motel. It'll open the room on the second floor, closest to the lobby. Hope it suits you.
You have any luck with the ghouls? I'm counting on you.
The ghouls are no longer at RepCon.
Really? Unbelievable, man. I knew that wasn't gonna be easy. But I had a good feeling about you. You look like you've been through a lot.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Fallout New Vegas. In the last episode we went through Boulder City and caught up to the great cons that helped Benny shoot us for a platinum chip. And in this episode there's actually something I kinda forgot to show real quick, so if you forgive me, I'd like to go over them. Hold on, my character's getting thirsty. There. Okay. There's a little spot that you could find following the road that you want to show off. But I kind of didn't follow the road. So let's rectify that real quick. Here we have the 188 trading post.
Welcome to the 188 Slop and Shop. How can I help you?
Who are you?
Name's Michelle. My dad and me run this store. His name's Samuel. I take the day shift and he takes nights. We came here about a month ago when Prim went to hell on account of the prison break north of there. Found a bin to call home and set up shop.
Why you sell? Well, I don't want to be rude. Call the place dumb. So we got another store that sells food.
Welcome to the 188 Slop and Shop. Like our slogan says, it's better than nothing.
I guess we can come to him if we need anything repaired.
Samuel Kerr at your service. Me and my daughter Michelle run this fine establishment. We came here from Prim about a month past. Doesn't look like much, but it's one hell of a location.
Why'd you leave Prim?
Michelle and I ran a little shop in Prim till the prison break north of town spoiled it for everyone. Goddamn convicts just about shut down I-15. When traffic dried up, we took to our heels to find us some customers. I'm not one to sit around waiting to get saved, and Michelle ain't neither.
Why is business so good here?
When 15 shut down, 95 became the route NCR citizens used to get to the Strip, or limp back home, after the Strip's drained them of caps. We get 'em coming and going. Coming, the suckers flush with caps they saved to gamble on the Strip. And going, the same folks, but now they're losers who'll trade you the shirt off their backs so they don't starve before they make it back home. Add in the troopers marching back and forth from McCarran and the Dam, and well, let's just say we don't miss Prim.
Okay. I don't want to buy anything, so I'll be seeing you around. Guess not much of a person for words.
Hey.
Turn that off.
No offense, but you look like you've traveled a long way down some bad roads. Where'd you come from?
The grave.
Huh. Well, in that case, I take it back. You look pretty good, given the circumstances. Well, welcome then. I'm Veronica. I live in a hole in the ground.
You live in a hole in the ground?
Well, a bunker, if you want to get technical. I think it sounds more interesting my way. But I'm not there much anymore. I'm usually out here picking up food and supplies for my family, whatever they need.
So you just leave your family in the bunker?
Yeah, I'm not worried. They can handle themselves. But somebody has to get the groceries, know what I mean? And actually these days, I think they'd rather have me out here anyway. But that's a whole other story. So listen, can I ask you something on the level?
Go ahead.
I had a run-in with this group calling themselves the Brotherhood of Steel. Pretty strange bunch. Do you know anything about them?
I could say that they're enemies of the NCR, or if you know where they are, you should turn in. I could say they got the right idea. I could say I know who they are, but I don't care about their agenda. I could say, yeah, I know to shoot them on sight. Or I could pass an intelligence check of 6 to say they're usually harmless unless you... This is the one I'm going with, but they're usually harmless unless you use advanced technology around them.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem for me. I can't afford anything like that. Hey, so where are you headed anyway?
The Strip.
Ooh, very exciting. Gonna strike it rich, huh? I'll be honest. You're the first person I've run across out here that looks like he can really handle himself. There are places I've never been to that'd be too dangerous for just me. What do you think? Maybe we could travel together. Help each other out.
You don't look like much. What could you bring to the table?
Good. That's the look I was going for. Trust me on this one, though. You'll be glad you brought me along. If I turn out to be a burden, we can part ways at any time. No hard feelings.
Where are you hoping to go?
Oh, nowhere in particular, really. Just hoping to see more of the world. Looking for a fresh perspective. I want to see how different groups have adapted to survive in the Mojave. See if there's something I can learn from.
Don't you have a family to feed?
Like I said, they can handle themselves. And I'm not the only one getting supplies for them. It's a big family.
I'd like to, but I can't exactly take you with me right now.
Aw, you really know how to make a girl feel like a stray cat. But, okay, my offer stands, if we run into each other again.
Okay, so I'd like to point out, this person here, Veronica, she is capable of being a second companion, but the situation for the game is that the game only allows one human companion at the time, meaning that either I could keep Boone in my party and leave Veronica here, or I could send Boone back to Novak in order to recruit Veronica. I'd like to hear opinions on which you got he's like to have in the party at any given time. But for now, I'd like to keep Boone in my party because of reasons that I'll explain when the time comes. But in the meantime, I'm trying to work towards that to get it set up as soon as possible. But for now, I'm going to keep Boone in my party. But I'd like to know if you guys care about me switching companions. And do you want to humor Veronica and have her in the party, or do you want to keep Boone? But in the meantime, let's go back to where we were.
Hello?
Holster your weapon at Gamora. Yeah, it doesn't leave much to the imagination on that. That's the kind of thing they want to advertise. Or little traveling merchants. A little caravan, like a merchant traveling with bodyguards.
When I got this assignment, I was hoping there'd be more gambling.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
Looks like NCR's trying their best to guard the roads here. My god, another merchant? Jeez. They're everywhere out here. The game tells me whether or not a container is empty, and I insist on looking at it anyway. Wait, hold on. I could have sworn there's something around here. Barrel cactus fruit added. Hello?
Is there something I can do for you?
What are you doing around here?
I'm a private in the NCR Army, and I've been proudly serving for 2 years now. Although if you were to ask what I'm doing right this instant, I'm patrolling the farms. It's a safe post, but a little boring. I do get to take shots at marauding mole rats every once in a while, and that's always fun.
Okay, tell me about the farms.
It's NCR-owned farmland. It produces a lot of the crops that supply McCarran and the dam. The farmers are all civilians, though. They work the farms, and in return they get a safe place to stay and clean food and water. Some of them aren't all that grateful, though.
Who may I ask is being ungrateful?
I shouldn't have brought it up. It's not my place to spread gossip.
Anything you tell me stays with me.
All right. Some of the farmers, especially Trent Boscom, claim the NCR isn't giving them the water they need to meet their crop quotas. Personally, I think they're just incompetent and making excuses. The NCR ought to send them all crying back to California.
Okay. Are there more dangerous posts?
Oh, you'd better believe it. I feel sorry for the troops who are charged with keeping the Fiends from overrunning everything. The Fiends are scary because they're unpredictable. One day, they'll be taking pot shots at you and then running off before you can shoot back. And the next day, they'll come rushing at you, pumped full of drugs and not stopping until you or they are dead.
If the Fiends are so dangerous, why hasn't NCR wiped them out?
Current orders are to hold the line and nothing more. That's all we seem to do these days. Hold the line. I guess it's a tricky situation since there's a vault in Fiend territory. If the NCR went after them, they'd just hole up.
Okay. I could use some directions.
I'll help you if I can. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for work.
Well, I know Major Daughtry is offering bounties on some of the Fiends. That's the gang that controls the southeast part of the city. You can find the Major at the camp just outside of the old airport.
I'm not looking for a merchant or a doctor, so goodbye.
Bye.
NCR Sharecropper Farm. Huh? What the? Jeez, that gunfire was just rattling and thundering. Huh? Jeez. This guy got massacred.
I wish I had a first recon guy looking after me.
That's another thing that's a little kind of interesting. Because sometimes NPCs and characters will take comments on your companions. It's like she just did with the NCR Ranger meeting Boone right there. What are you doing, Eddie? Why are you hiding from me?
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
2 times in this episode we heard that. Okay, where's the map? Okay, let's see how. Let's follow. Who's this? A fiend. Looks like nothing but raiders. Why does he have a plasma rifle? Captain Karen might be another place we would go to food later. We discovered Freeside's East Gate. Let's see what Freeside is like.
Looking for a fix, man? I got what you need.
What are you selling?
Have a look, baby.
Okay, you guess, forget it. I'll just eat the money loss.
Thanks. Yep.
You're mine.
Huh? Next, you vermin.
All mine. Can't run from me.
What's going on? Thug. I guess random pieces of garbage wanted to attack us. Okay, let's get something to eat real quick. Okay, good enough. Ooh. Wait, do I have any guns to actually use .50? Oh, this, the varmint rifle. Hold on. You know why I'll... Let's do that. I like his little shipping crates. Yeah, all the food I ate is wearing off already. Old Las Vegas Mormon State Historic Park.
That is one battered eyebot. It's a miracle it's still functioning.
Eddie?
That's a 1st Recon Beret. They're the best marksmen in the NCR military.
Howdy.
Ooh, looks like we found another ghoul. So, who are you?
I've been around a while. Currently working for the followers as a gun for hire, but it's getting rather dull. Aside from protecting them from the occasional thug looking to intercept supply shipments, there isn't much to do around here. The one researcher I liked who I could chat up about liquor got transferred. And the rest of the docs are pretty uptight about my kind of fun.
What are you doing with the followers?
I joined up looking for a decent paying job. Granted, the pay's alright, but they won't let me kick back and slog a brew at the end of the day. They're worried the filthy drunkies in detox seeing me drink will cause an immediate relapse. I say their rehab effort here is just a revolving door.
I bet you've seen a lot over the years.
I've been around long enough to observe the patterns of human behavior. Physical and mental anguish are especially exciting to explore.
Okay, that's a bit cryptic.
Hey, who doesn't enjoy a little pinch and squeal every once in a while?
Okay, let's talk about something else.
What do you have in mind?
Got any advice to share?
Feed a man for free, and he'll be back asking for more. Feed a man a bullet, you won't hear from him again.
Okay, any more advice?
Good? Bad? The guy with the gun makes the rules.
Okay. Let's see if I can ask some questions.
And I may have answers.
Tell me about Freeside.
What starts in misery tends to stay there. Freeside wasn't Freeside until 6 or 7 years ago. That's when Mr. House's robots rolled out of the Lucky 38 and started pushing everyone who wouldn't join him off the strip. Lots of folks died. Some scattered to the winds. The rest wound up in Freeside and seemed never to lose the habit of living like refugees.
Okay, apparently there's a Mr. House in the area that... A Mr. House in the area that... It has some... that has access to robots. What's your opinion on this Mr. House character?
Before or after the human race shot itself in the foot? I've been around long enough to have both opinions, see. Before the war, Mr. House was a famous captain of industry. Robotics, to be specific. Seemed charming in interviews, until he became a recluse. Since the war, though, didn't make a peep for near 200 years. But when he came back, He came back strong and killed a lot of people.
Okay, this is an example of what I mean when I say that ghouls have a kind of immortality. What Beatrix has just said in here really implies that she's been around since before the bombs went off back in 2077. And as she hinted at, it's been about 200 years since then, approximately. So, yeah, ghouls have a kind of immortality if you're lucky enough to become a saint ghoul like she is. And apparently, what she just said also implies that this Mr. House, who says been around since before the war, I get. The only thing that would make sense is if he was a ghoul, right? Well, we'll see. Okay, what do you think of the NCR?
I reckon they care about getting water and electricity from the dam, and that's where it ends. The locals here are just an inconvenience to them, something to step over or stomp down. They're here for the resources, plain and simple.
Okay, what do you think about the followers of the apocalypse?
I don't know how they do it. They're like saints, those followers. If they didn't charge for their services, I'd think they was crazy. But nah, they're just naive. Warms their heart.
What about the Kings?
What about them? Pretty much the sort of gang you'd find anywhere else, just with better clothes. The King himself, though, he's got that something special you can't put a finger on. Too bad he likes girls with skin.
What do you know about Van Graff?
Couple of rad scorpions, those two. Gloria is the stable one, but she'd slit your throat if there's a profit in it. Or rather, she'd tell her brother to do it for her. John Baptiste is one of the sicker humans I've had the displeasure of observing. What did you want to know?
I know that's kind of spoilery and like most of those groups like Mr. House, the Kings, and the Van Graffs are people we haven't met yet, but for some reason we're able to talk to characters about them, like we heard of them or something. Anyway, see her around.
Yep.
Yeah, the way you can see her like, what is that, muscle tissue underneath her skin there is kind of what I mean when I say that, like being a ghoul is just basically being a ghoul is, like I said, the upside is that it makes you immortal if you're a fan of being immortal, at the cost of looking like a zombie. Just be lucky if you're like, they keep your sentience too, though.
Hi. If you're looking for medical help, try the other doctors. I'm just a researcher, not even a particularly good one.
What kind of research are you doing?
Oh, you know, finding alternative treatments for common illnesses and injuries, stim packs out of barrel cacti, and other fantastic improbabilities. As far as fruitless wastes of time go, it's quite noble in its aims.
You don't exactly sound the most enthusiastic about it.
I'm enthusiastic about helping people, but nihil novi sub sole.
Isn't that the language that Caesar's Legion speaks? I think it's, that's Latin, by the way, for anyone who cares, but anyway.
Caesar can cite Cato to suit his purpose. Many people have spoken Latin. Some of them were quite pleasant. It's unfortunate that the language is now associated with the gentleman across the river.
Do you know much about Caesar?
I don't know anything that the others couldn't tell you. Caesar was one of the followers. Before my time, of course. He wanted to rebuild the new world in the image of the old. A sad story of good intentions gone bad. In that regard, he's hardly unique. If you set aside his leadership capabilities, extensive knowledge, and ruthless cunning, he's just another jerk who steps on people to get his way.
Where'd you learn the language?
Not from the Legion, if that's what you're getting at. Books, sheet music, gladiator movie holotapes, bits and pieces here and there. The followers have extensive libraries, but we all draw water from the same old well. Even Caesar.
Okay, Nihu, what?
Oh, sorry. There's nothing new under the sun. If agave and mesquite were that miraculous, the locals would have figured it out a few thousand years ago.
Alright, let's talk about something else.
Certainly.
What do you do why do you do research instead of providing medical assistance?
Not all followers are people persons. Besides, someone needs to do research. I have no problem with Julie sticking me back here. Out of sight, out of mind. There are worse things one can be, though I do admit it is a bit boring. Though it has a noble goal, I don't think this research will yield much fruit. No pun intended.
Why don't you come with me?
No offense intended, but why should I go anywhere with you?
Why after someone ain't Betty for revenge and I need someone to keep me patched up?
Pulling bullets out of a vengeance-crazed drifter is truly a noble step up from tending to the downtrodden of Freeside. But I think I'll pass.
In case you're wondering, this person here, Arcade Gannon, is another person that you could potentially recruit to be a companion, but as you saw there, you need a whopping speech check. You need to meet a whopping speech check of 75 in order to convince him there. Unless there's an alternate method that...
What's up?
Unless, of course, there's an alternate method that I'm not aware of yet, but to convince him, you need to... that's just really difficult at this point. But I'm working on it. Slowly but surely I'm working on it.
Keep your guns to yourself and there won't be any trouble.
Don't start picking fights you can't finish and there won't be any trouble either, pal.
Hey there.
The Kings.
Man, I'm hungry. I'd give anything for a fancy lad. Wait, yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
What do we have here? Another petitioner for the king?
Who's the king?
Who's the king? You believe this, asshole man? In Freeside, the kings rule. And the king rules the king. Got it?
Let's say yes. I'd like to go see the king if that's possible.
Anything's possible, I suppose. How much is it worth to you to meet the big man?
Okay, I could fail a speech chat to 60 in order to stay trusting the king will want to see me. I could pay him 5 caps, 50 caps, 500, or I could back out of this saying I don't have much on me. Let's go with that for now.
Then the king has no interest in seeing you.
Go spin in a kettle.
Hi. Hey there.
For anyone who cares, the Kings is a gang of Elvis impersonators. I'd like to steal these. Oh boy, would I like to steal them, but it's kind of hard when you got 2 people staring at you and they won't look away. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe that's something we can come back to later. For now, let's follow the quest marker to see if we can find Betty.
Let's kill this guy!
I don't know why it's zooming in on him like I did that.
It's life in Freeside for you.
Idiot. The guy came, he had someone with a gun and he had nothing off him but like a razor blade. Huh? Again, all these thugs. Let me check this box, okay? And there's nothing really worth taking in there. Anyway.
You look new to Freeside, so here's a little advice, friend. Don't go past the Southgate greeter without talking to it first.
Why wouldn't I want to go past the greeter?
Those bots are programmed to vaporize anyone who enters the fenced-in area without authorization from the greeter.
Okay, thanks for the advice. Who are you?
The name's Old Ben. I've been living in Freeside since the day I was born.
You got a story to tell?
I've done a bit of everything around here. Courier, butcher, crier, escort, gun for hire. Some of which I'm not proud of, but I do my best to help around town when needed.
Courier? I used to be a courier before I took a bullet to the brain.
Exactly one of the reasons I got out of that job. Too many shifty characters looking to have someone else move their hot items.
You've been a butcher? How'd you get into that?
My father ran a butcher shop here in town, but business went downhill when another vendor started selling this strange meat at half our prices.
That sounds kinda odd.
You're telling me. Not long after my father's shop went under, and he passed away from the loss, people around town started experiencing shakes. No one gets shakes like that unless they're eating human flesh. But no one would believe me. The sick bastard gradually went insane and passed away. Wasn't long before someone moved into the guy's place and found half-buried human remains in the crawl space. I didn't bother saying "told you so."
Wow! Anyway, you've been a crier? What was that job?
After a while, I made enough money to get a passport into Vegas. Back then, you could get approved for entry for a fraction of what it costs now. Well, I got a job working as a crier outside of the Tops, advertising for the local talent performing at the casino. That didn't last long.
What happened?
Well, being a suave young guy, I chatted up the ladies from time to time, and one of the manager's girls started to take a liking to me. I never touched a woman, but the jealous prick decided it was my time to go. He framed me by saying I'd stolen from the casino. Sure enough, a few grand was missing from the casino vault. I have to assume the bastard stole the funds and figured I was a convenient fall guy.
Well, that sounds awful.
Yeah, but what can you do? I was stripped of my casino apartment and all of my belongings and booted back into Freeside. From there, I didn't have a lot of career options, as my rep was destroyed. So the escort job sort of fell into my lap. No pun intended.
You're an escort? Like, what, an armed guard or something?
Well, I suppose you could look at it that way, but I was packing a whole different kind of heat. No, escort just sounds better than man-whore.
Okay, so you were getting paid for sex?
Yep. I was damn good at my job, too. But after a while, I just felt like a piece of meat and had to quit.
Didn't you also say you were a gun for hire?
When I quit the escort job, I had enough money to buy a pistol belt and some other gear. Bodyguards make a good, honest living, and I had the wits and physical build to handle most thugs. After saving a few tourists from trouble, I got a reputation for being a stand-up guy again, and after a decade, managed to save up enough to retire.
Let's talk about something else.
All right.
I'll see you around.
Till next time.
So, we were able to get that guy's entire life story. Well,
You have entered a restricted. Whoa! Exterminate.
these robots look just like Victor from Good Springs and Novak.
Submit to a credit check, or present your passport before proceeding to the gate. Trespassers will be shot.
Credit check? What's that for?
Admission to the strip requires an official passport, or proof that you are carrying the required minimum balance. These policies prevent less reputable persons from entering, and ensure a good time will be had by all who enter the strip.
Can't pass the science check, Beatty. I could submit a credit check of 2,000 cash, but that's kind of expensive. Robot, let me pass.
Please submit to a credit check or present a passport.
Well, he's being insistent.
Please return when you have sufficient cash or passport.
Well, I guess we have to find a way to get a little... Find an alternate way in case you don't have the money.
Can't run from me. You like that?
Nobody would like this. I'll take the sheriff's hat. To be honest, I kind of gotta be careful about... Uh-oh, fighting. To be honest, I kind of got to be careful about, like, what kind
You're
of...
funny looking.
Huh?
We've got stuff we're not even allowed to sell, people. Only at Mick and Ralph's. Come to Mick and Ralph's for all your shopping needs. If it can be bought, it can be found
Shut
at
up,
Mick and
kid.
Ralph's.
Anyway, I just gotta be careful about what kind of... About some of the music that gets played over the radio in this game, because one of my videos got kind of copyright claimed at it on YouTube, like, not in the sense of like it got taken down, but more copyright in the sense that like it got blocked from being able to play in certain countries.
If you're looking for guns, talk to Mick. Otherwise, I've got a nice selection of general supplies.
I didn't touch the controller, he cut himself off on his own. Do you offer any other services other than being a vendor or a merchant?
I only offer services if the king gives the okay. Impress him and we can talk.
Who's the king?
If you haven't heard of the king, you must have been living under a rock or something. The king has his boys all over Freeside. He controls the water pump and is essentially the go-to guy for what goes around here.
Okay, I have some other questions.
Okay, ask away.
I'd like to know more about Freeside.
What do you want to know?
Who is the king?
If you haven't heard of the king...
Okay, we already heard that. Who are the Van Graffs?
They're the local energy weapon dealers in Freeside. When it comes to lasers and plasma, they're the only game in town, and they keep it that way. Gloria's men are the best armed in Freeside and ruthless to boot. But her brother, Jean-Baptiste Cutting, puts them all to shame.
What's up with the Atomic Wrangler?
Their joint is the only place in Freeside to get it all under one roof. They've got gambling, booze, chems, and whores. They're good folks, just don't cross them. They're known for tidying up loose ends with a bullet to the brain box.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
Anything else I can help you with?
What do you have in stock?
Take a gander.
Another vendor that we can buy and sell stuff from. Nothing I really want to buy. Alright, see you around.
Thanks for stopping in.
Okay, I feel like I... Maybe that's something we should go do. So, let's go check out the caravan soon. Are you serious? Okay, they got a workbench.
Welcome to Mick and Ralph's. If you need guns, I'm your man. For general supplies and other services, see my partner Ralph.
What guns do you have for... Oh, well, how's business first?
Things were better when the Omertas were buying, but we get by. Good selection from traders, and the Van Graffs keep things running.
What's the deal with the Omertas?
That's the thing. I have no idea. They just stopped buying guns all of a sudden. If you hear anything, let me know.
Okay, I will do.
Anything else I can help you with?
You're asking for repair. Do you have any special items for sale?
Why? Do you work for one of the casinos?
No, I don't.
In that case, yes I do. Follow me.
Whoa!
Like I always say, a polite society is an armed society.
He's got a cache of weapons. Too bad I don't really have much to sell. I usually like to sell stuff and sell and buy at the same time, so every transaction ends with me getting some level of money out of them.
Another NCR grunt.
Don't talk about Boone that way. Wait, huh? What's in here? My farm. Yeah, in case anyone, for those who are curious, the followers of the apocalypse are people that try to have of noble goals or something. Oh, the music cue. Or do you think something will make you think something's up? Anyway, the followers of the apocalypse are a group of people that are mainly doctors and researchers and such. And I mean doctors like medical doctors. There's that try to, they pursue knowledge so as to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past.
I'm just security, not a doctor.
Okay.
That is one battered iBot. It's a miracle it's still functioning.
Oh, I hate that. I hate it when the game does that. They put common items that you would definitely want to have in common areas where people are always around and you can't make them leave.
When people have got nothing left, they can always turn to the followers.
What were you doing there for a second? You dancing? That's it, it's the game.
Hey.
Hush. See, like, they know you would want to take these magazines, but if you take them, you're stealing it, and you always got two people staring at you. And as much as I want those magazines, it's not worth using a stealth boy.
McLafferty's a hard boss, but she knows what she's doing now.
Hey there. Here's the rest of the payment I promised you back in Good Springs.
Ringo! Oh. So, who's in charge around here?
Alice McLafferty runs the Crimson Caravan. You can find her over in the main office.
What are the rules of the caravan?
It's a two-player game.
Oh, wait.
And the winner takes the whole pie. You build a caravan using the cards in your deck. The goal is to create caravan bids that beat your opponent's bids. So there's more strategy than luck involved. It's why you won't see caravan in any casino. Too slow-paced. And more importantly, no house edge. Here, take this holotape. It goes into more specifics about the rules. You'll also need a deck, so take one of my spares. So, you feel like playing a game?
Where can I find more cards?
Just keep an eye out for them while you travel. I've found cards in old boxes or forgotten on shelves. Can find some for sale, too.
I don't have time for a game right now.
All right.
So, what's next for you?
I'm getting ready to run a caravan up towards Utah. There's a town called New Canaan, which is supposed to be pretty prosperous. The Crimson Caravan doesn't have any branches out that way, so it'll be up to me to get things started.
Okay. See you around.
I'll see you around.
That's for sure.
Morning. NCR Rangers deserve all my praise.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for wildlife.
Oh, look. Wildlife.
If you're looking to buy or sell, you've come to the right man. The Crimson Caravan Company has the widest selection in the wasteland.
Can you answer some questions for me?
Maybe. What do you want to know?
Where does Crimson Caravan Company get its merchandise?
Trade routes, my friend. Trade routes. Just about every major town in the wasteland has a Crimson Caravan branch in it.
Do your caravans ever have trouble from bandits?
Out here, we usually split our caravans into smaller bands. That way, we don't lose everything if they get hit. It's not very efficient, though. But hopefully, we'll be able to start running larger caravans once things get civilized.
Where are you from?
A little place in the NCR called Oak Creek. Used to be a farming town until it got taken over by ranchers. I didn't want to herd Brahmin for a living, so I signed on with the Crimson Caravan and headed east. Not much to tell, really.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
Need anything else?
I think that's it. Bye.
See ya.
I'm glad to see you.
We never met.
Welcome to the Crimson Caravan Company New Vegas branch. What may I do for you?
I'm looking for work.
I'm afraid we have no current openings for caravanners or guards, but I am in need of a runner.
What do I need to do?
Deliver this invoice to Dr. Hildern. You can find him somewhere inside Camp McCarran.
I'd like to know more about the Crimson Caravan Company real quick.
Certainly. What would you like to know?
How long have you been in the business?
The Crimson Caravan Company has been in business for over 130 years. We're partially responsible for the progress in the NCR.
Does the Crimson Caravan have any competition?
Well, the gunrunners continue to dominate the weapons market, and the Mormon traders from New Canaan control the majority of the northern routes.
You're pretty well dressed for this place.
Normally, I oversee company operations at the hub in California. However, the New Vegas branch has been underperforming in recent years. Given the conditions here, it's not hard to see why. I'll change all that soon enough.
Let's talk about something else.
All right. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Goodbye.
It's been a pleasure.
I mean to go to the Cat McCarran anyway, so real quick, where is that? Let's see if Boone would be able to recognize he's Cat McCarran, considering that it's one of the more major NCR
That red
locations.
beret's looking good, soldier. I'm not a recruitment officer. You want to join the army? I'm sure someone at McCarran can point you in the right direction.
What can you tell me about the fields?
Impressive, aren't they? You don't see anything like this outside of NCR territory, that's for sure. We get the water, clean water, pumped in from Lake Mead. If you follow the big pipes, they'll take you all the way to the lake.
Are the fields being guarded?
A lot of the crops grown here support the various NCR camps in the region. McCarran, Goff, and Forlorn Hope, to name a few. We can't have wastelanders popping in here for a free meal, so my squad and I are assigned to keep things from going to hell.
Okay, see you around.
Carry on.
Wait, huh? Where's it want me to go? Are you serious? It just wanted me to go to that building for literally no reason? For God's sake, the stupid quest markers sometimes. Sounds like gunfire. see if Boone has anything to say about this place.
What is it? We won.
Must have been their strings what happened. And we won, apparently. That's it? You won?
Look, we've done some traveling together, but we're not exactly comrades in arms. I'm not ready to swap war stories.
I could try to strong harm him into talking by bringing up the promise to fight the Legion with you. How can you say that we've been fighting together, or I've seen my share of terrible things. You could talk to me about it.
Maybe some other time.
Alright.
Yeah.
Just gotta be patient with Boone. Getting closer to hearing about the Bear Springs event. Camp McCarran here is... It used to be an airport before the war. Now it's a more major NCR military base.
Man, Doc Kemp really fixed me up right the last time I got shot. He's the man to see if you need some fixing.
A little busy at the moment, but I can talk.
What is this place?
This? The OSI lab. We don't get many visitors. The smell puts people off, I think. Nobody ever said science would smell clean and fresh. Anyway, you get used to it if you give it some time.
I'm assuming you're a scientist?
I know I don't sound the part. Get raised by Brahmin ranchers and you never lose the twang. Drives Hildern crazy. But I know every inch of the power grid from Hoover Dam to Shady Sands. That's what we do here. Try to optimize the power output from the dam. Some of the others are working on an agricultural project, but truth be told, they aren't making much progress. Not yet, anyway.
What's your role here exactly?
Head researcher. Mostly on the dam project, but I help out on other things when they need me. Gotta be flexible.
Need help with anything?
You mean give you work? No, that'd be up to the administrator, Hildern. He's back there in his office. Between you and me, I don't think he ever leaves. Plenty of mercs go in to see him, though.
Mercenaries? What for?
I can't say. We're not supposed to talk about the research. Not the details. If you're interested, I'm sure he'd see you.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Nice to meet you. If you need anything, I'm almost always in the lab.
A pleasure to meet you. I'm Dr. Thomas Hildern, Director of Operations, OSI East. I presume you're here about Vault 22?
No, this is the first time I'm hearing about Vault 22.
No, they wouldn't have briefed you, would they? Probably better that our junior fellows stay within the bounds of their pay grade anyway. Vault 22. Where to begin?
Let's listen.
Imagine, if you will, the wasteland in bloom. Vast fields of corn that grow from seeds and produce their bounty in the space of a month. Orchards of trees, their branches weighed halfway to the ground, hung with fat, ripe oranges, a harvest that could feed a city or a nation. And all this, requiring no more than a few drops of precious water, and the efforts of only a handful of human farmers. Impossible?
Yeah, that sounds kind of impossible. Or, well, maybe not impossible, but rather improbable.
A realist. We have that in common. A year ago, I'd have said the same. But what if I was to tell you that the wasteland can yield an endless bounty, and that the secret may lie a mere few miles from where we stand? We need only reach out and take it, and for that, I need you.
Scientific discovery's not quite that simple.
Isn't it? One directs one's efforts, or the efforts of others, toward a goal, and progress is made. It's a matter of incentives, nothing more. I believe that the inhabitants of Vault 22 unlock the secrets of vegetative growth. Plants are spilling from their gate. No one tends them. No one waters them. Yet they multiply and spread in all directions. Find the reason for this miraculous growth, and I promise you the OSI will see that you are generously compensated.
I'll think about it.
Very well. I hope you'll consider this an open offer from the OSI. Now, I'm sure your time is valuable, so unless there was anything else...
Actually, I had some other questions.
Oh? What might those be?
What do you think of the NCR's chances against the Legion?
To be frank, I have no idea. I leave the fighting to Colonel Shu, and I expect him to leave the science to me. Too many people have opinions on things they know nothing about. The more ignorant they are, the more opinions they have.
Tell me more about the OSI.
The Office of Science and Industry. It's a rather expansive topic. I could talk for hours, but I'm sure I'd bore you. Suffice to say, we are the leading edge of the NCR. Our work focuses on practical matters: medicine, engineering, biology. The dam, for instance. OSI routes its energy supply to our cities in the West. That's only one responsibility of this office.
You said you're the director of the OSI?
Director of the entire OSI? Me? If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to plant seditious ideas in my head. No. I direct our eastern operations. I've been responsible for squeezing unprecedented levels of power from the dam. I'm also confronting the problem of food production in what little spare time I have, but I've found some promising leads.
You're doing all these things by yourself?
Yes, with the assistance of my team, of course.
Is the NCR facing a food shortage?
Not yet. But our government understands the value of proactive thought. Our studies project an imbalance between production and consumption. Or, for a layman such as yourself, not enough food, too many mouths to feed. Mass starvation in a decade or so.
If that's the kind of problem you're expecting to face, maybe you should slow down on the expansion. Anyway, what other responsibilities does this office have?
We aid some programs the Republic has sponsored involving sharecropper farms in the area. But those haven't panned out too well from what I hear. There have been complaints about the amount of water we're supplying. But those are just excuses for lack of diligence, I'm sure.
Do you control the dam from here?
Directly? No. But we attempt to maximize its output. You have no idea how difficult it is to provide power to an entire nation. I also have high hopes for our Helios 1 facility. Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the 2 scientists who are working there. So far, they've only managed to achieve 1% power output. I'd send help if I could spare the personnel. Yes, goodbye.
Hold on, my quest marker's pointing right to you. To hail this in Captain Karen.
We spoke earlier, didn't we?
I have an invoice for you from Alice McLafferty.
From Alice? I'll see that she's paid right away. Crimson Caravan runs a tight operation. Even out here in the waste, wouldn't do to keep them waiting. Was there anything else? Or were you just here about the invoice?
I think that's it.
Yes. Goodbye.
A little busy at the moment.
Nothing new. Something else I wanted to look at real quick while I was here. Wait, is it up here? Or am I mistaken? No. Maybe there's some here I was thinking of? Here it is.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here. You sure you're in the right place?
Who are you?
Not big on reading name tags, huh? That's okay. My name is long and difficult to pronounce. Ready for it? It's Boyd. Lieutenant Boyd to my friends. Colonel Shu has me handling the policing duties for the base. I've told him he could make my job a whole lot easier if he would just let me shoot anyone who talks back to me. But you know how colonels can be.
Do you need any help with anything?
Yeah, so far this has gone exactly as expected. Poorly. But with the work you've done for NCR already, you might be just what I've been looking for. We captured an honest-to-God Centurion of Caesar's Legion recently.
Is that a big deal?
Better believe it. Everybody in Caesar's Legion, from Caesar on down, will kill themselves before they can be captured. They're so twitchy they'd probably do it if you reached out to hug them. But here's this guy, who's an elite commander in their army, and he just gives himself up, even as his men are slitting their own throats around him.
What do you think it means?
Well, I don't know about you, but to me that sounds like a man who's willing to cooperate. Except he hasn't. Only times he speaks up are to insult you. He's a real prick, by the way. And I'm supposed to get information out of this guy.
Why don't you just... Have you tried calling him hurtful names?
Yes, and one time I thought I saw a tear when I told him his uniform was unflattering. But I think he just got some dust in his eye.
Do you have a truth drug or something?
Don't have anything like that. Sounds nice. Like the kind of thing I'd want to take home and use on my husband. But even if we did, I don't know that I'd be comfortable using it. If there's any risk of overdose, it's not worth it. Asshole's too valuable.
Why don't you just beat your prisoner senseless?
I like the way you think. Have I said that yet? Problem is that the NCR frowns on using that sort of tactic. There's some restrictions still in place from President Tandy's administration. But here's my favorite thing about you. You're not in the NCR. Plus, for all this guy knows, you're completely insane. That's a winning combination.
So you want me to go in there and do what you can't?
I think if you rough him up enough, and really put some fear into him, he'll sing like a choir boy. So let's do this. When you're ready, I'll go in and give you a little intro. Then I leave the room, and you make him regret the day he was born. We go back and forth a couple times until either he talks or he can't move his jaw anymore. Either way, we've had our entertainment for the day.
I could object back to the use of violence against prisoners of war, but this is Caesar's Legion, so let's just get started.
That's the spirit. Okay, I'll go in and have a word with him. Then I'll call you in. Long time no see, Celus.
Lieutenant, I was just thinking about you.
That's so.
I was just thinking about that pretty neck of yours.
How sweet.
I was thinking about how it would look with a Legion slave collar on it.
I'll pass.
Do you know what I love about our slave collars, Lieutenant?
If you love them, maybe you should try one on.
I love how tightly they fit. I train my men to make sure the slave's flesh bulges a bit around the top and bottom. Know why?
It's all the rage in fashion circles?
Not quite. If you fit it just right, their body never gets used to the feeling of wearing it. It cuts in just enough when they swallow or turn their head to remind them who they belong to. And it's that constant reminder that keeps them docile.
In that case, maybe you'd better save the collar you were gonna give me.
Oh? For whom?
For a friend of mine you're about to meet. My friend isn't very docile.
And who is this friend of yours?
You know all the rules the NCR instituted to protect enemy prisoners of war?
Of course.
My friend doesn't. Oh, and Silus, if you resist at all, I'll personally blow your brains out. Come on in, he's all yours. I'll be back in a bit to see how you're getting along. And I'll need you to surrender your weapons before you go in. You can pick them up from the locker on your way out.
What an ugly little worm you are. What pile of excrement did the lieutenant pluck you from, worm?
I'm with the Legion, and I'm here to kill you before you talk.
You're nothing. You're some inept mercenary the NCR is paying to supplement its own incompetent soldiers.
How naive is Corruptio Optimi Pessima? Caesar sees you as a threat now. We are mostly Caesar's law, and you are in violation. I've opposed his mercenary inside the wall. Caesar sees you as a threat now.
No, listen. Caesar's secrets are safe with me. I stayed alive because Caesar would have wanted it. I'm useless to him dead.
You're a danger to him alive. Your knowledge threatens him.
I've told them nothing. They've gotten nowhere. I'm a Centurion, for Christ's sake. I deserve his trust.
Caesar's laws are absolute. He does not grant exceptions.
You have to let this go. I'll disappear. No one will ever see me again. That was always the plan in the first place.
So in addition to treason, you're also a deserter.
No, that's not what I meant. Lieutenant, this man is trying to kill me. He's not who you think he is.
All that shouting. Honestly, Silus, you get free room and board. The least you could do is be a good guest.
Lieutenant, this man is an agent of the Legion on a mission to kill me.
My, we have an active imagination today, don't we?
Think about it. Is it worth the risk? You need what I need.
Well, it sounds like the two of you are becoming fast friends.
It'll be your head if I die, Lieutenant. You'll be disgraced.
You know what? I think you're right, Silus.
Of course I'm right.
Except, I don't care. Because it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to never have to hear you say another word, Silus. Carry on.
Lieutenant! You don't have to do this.
You shouldn't have done that. I'm the only friend you have right now.
You've made your intentions clear. The Legion has abandoned me. I've done everything Caesar ever asked of me, and this is how I am repaid. With assassination, I ambushed countless NCR patrols and wiped them out so that our operatives could move freely. I waited for him to dispatch us for 3 days, never questioning why the headaches he complained of would hinder his ability to command. I haven't breathed a word about the officer we planted here. He continues to radio intelligence to Caesar's camp nearly every night. I've proven my loyalty. All you're doing is killing a loyal soldier. If that's Caesar's policy, then I say his empire will crumble.
If his empire falls, it'll probably be because his Centurions are so gullible.
What? What do you mean?
You've been tricked, Silas. I'm working with the NCR. I just got you to talk.
No, you slimy bastard! Nothing I've said will change the outcome for you. No force can hold back the tide of the Legion. This camp and everyone in it will burn.
Yes, starting with you. Now if you excuse me, I got better things to do than waste my time with Caesar's Legion.
You did well. I don't know how you did it without putting a scratch on him, and I'm a little disappointed personally, but it saved the NCR some face. And it could save us more than that when all is said and done. I'm gonna talk to some people when we're through here. This is about double the standard fee we'd give a consultant, but from what I saw, you're more of an artist. So think of this as your commission.
Alright, I'm good here. Or goodbye.
Yep, see you around.
I always thought that this particular little quest is interesting.
What is it? He was... Yeah.
I interacted with Boone real quick because usually doing this quest is one of the things that gets Boone on good terms with you.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
That's 3 times in this one in session. Okay, what are my quests? Ternalis. Wait, what? Kitchen. Looking for caravan work. Actually, there's something I want to do real quick while I'm here. Seeing this reminded me. Oh, can't do that, it's average.
Howdy. Name's Sterling, First Recon. Can't say I've seen you before. I'd remember if I had.
You remember everyone who passes through here?
Got a good memory for faces, landmarks and such too. Comes with practice, that's all, and a lot of scouting from place to place.
Interesting rifle you have there. Lever action, right?
I call her the Long Carabine. Didn't always have the scope. I added that myself. Been shooting with her so long, couldn't bring myself to toss her away. Would have felt guilty to part with the old girl. The other snipers used bolt action, but Gorbets reckoned it didn't matter none if I was different, so long as I could hit my targets.
How long have you always been with First Recon?
Used to be a ranger, one of the first they sent out east back before we took the dam. Observation and reconnaissance. We took the lay of the land, checked out the locals, and kept ourselves inconspicuous. A couple friends of mine were the first to scout the dam. That was back in '73, if I recall. A lot of those rangers are dead now. Vegas always chewed men up. It's just a little more literal nowadays.
Why did you leave the Rangers?
Well, that wasn't really a matter of choice. Got myself caught by legionaries up near Malpay. They had themselves some fun with me. Mangled my hands and feet pretty good. Wasn't much good with the pistol after that. Wasn't gonna be trekking across the waste on any more long scouts either.
How did you manage to escape Malpais?
Caesar's boys figured I wasn't going anywhere after what they'd done to me. So they didn't bother tying me up. I crawled out of there on my elbows and knees. Must have looked a sight. Then I rolled down an embankment into the Colorado. Guess I had a mind to drown rather than give Caesar's boys the satisfaction of killing me. But a couple of rangers happened to be watching from across the river. They jumped on in and pulled me out of there. Lucky break, they said.
How long have you been stationed here?
Going on 6 months now, but I reckon we'll be moving out soon enough. Can't talk about the details. Till then, we'll man the towers and keep an eye on the fiends. We've had more than our share of trouble from their direction. Whole thing smells of Caesar to me. Of course, that's just guesswork. But I'd still bet a few caps he's stirring up the locals against us.
All right, goodbye.
Always a pleasure. Keep yourself safe.
Hey. I'm Lieutenant Gorobats, 1st Recon. If you're looking to collect a bounty, you should talk to Major Daughtry.
Does the NCR usually offer bounties on people?
If they've proven hard to kill, yes. Whatever it takes to get the job done, even if it means hiring help from outside the military.
Okay, tell me about First Recon real quick.
We're the finest sniper outfit in the whole NCR. If you need a bullet put into a target's eye from 800 yards away, you call us. Some of my team aren't without their share of scars, though, like Betsy and Sterling.
What's wrong with Sterling?
Corporal Sterling was an NCR ranger until he was captured by the Legion. They tortured him pretty badly. He wasn't able to be a ranger after that, but his eyes are still sharp, so I had him transferred to 1st Recon.
And what's wrong with Betsy?
Cook, one of the fiends, ambushed her and 10 of spades. They both managed to escape, but not before Cook raped her. Betsy shrugged it off like it was nothing, but her behavior keeps getting worse. Always making passes at every woman who wanders by. It's inappropriate for anyone at 1st Recon to behave that way. I could discipline her, but I'd rather she get medical help.
I can talk to Betsy about getting medical trauma help for her, trauma if you want.
I'd appreciate it. As her CO, I could order her to get help, but I'd have her agree with the idea.
Alright, goodbye.
Carry on.
Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. I'm Bitterroot, 1st Recon. You got a reason to talk to me?
Bitterroot, you have an unusual name.
You trying to start trouble? Or do you really not know where I got that name?
I didn't mean to offend you. You don't have to tell me if you'd rather not.
It's a con name. You know, the great cons? That's what my parents were. I figured I grew up around the bastards. They owed me a name after all they put me through.
What do you know about the Great Khans?
They're scum. Lazy, trumped-up raiders. Most of the time they're drunk or high, and when they're not shooting chems, they're selling them. Used to have a settlement up at Bitter Springs till they pissed off NCR and got slaughtered for their trouble. A lot of us got killed at Bitter Springs. A lot of them, I mean. My parents died too.
Okay, so not the friendliest person, are you?
Guess not. I don't mean nothing by it. You really want to talk to somebody, try 10 of spades. He's always got plenty to say. Me? I'm here to do my job. For now, that job is shooting fiends.
How long have you been in the first Recon?
While, I guess. I don't keep too careful track of time. I like to keep things simple. Just focus on now. That's why they made me a sniper. You let your mind wander back a ways and you lose sight of what's in front of your eyes. Good way to miss a mark.
Know where I can get some work around here?
You a merc? Well, then I guess you want to talk to my... father. Major Daughtry. He's our CO.
Your father's your commanding officer? Is that allowed?
Yeah, look. He's not my real father. He just looked after me for a while. It's a long story. I'd get tired of talking before it was through.
Okay. Hold on.
It's like I told you, Daughtry's not my real father. He just looked after me for a while.
Okay, so he's not going to elaborate on that. And it took a second attempt to get it to fade out. Anyway, goodbye.
Alright, goodbye.
Alright, I think that was a good episode. So, this has been in Fallout New Vegas, and next time we're going to be doing some more quests as for Crimson Caravan, and then maybe a bit of the NCR to see if we can earn some more caps to help buffer the price, at least for the strip, because even though, hold on, I'm pretty sure it's okay, it's not tough to me about inventory, but even though I think we could technically afford it already, to like 2,200 on, they kind of want to earn a bit of extra. Kind of want to earn a bit of extra money to help buffer it. Maybe we can find another way around. Maybe I can sell off all the stuff I'm stealing. Oh, but anyway, this has been in Fallout New Vegas. And tell me down in the comments below. We've met 2 new potential companions. One is Veronica, and the other is RK Gannon. Tell me about down in the comments below who you would want me to consider her. But in the meantime, I'm going to tell me, do you want me to keep Boone in the party for now? Do you want me to send Boone back to Novak? It can get Veronica? Because I only say Veronica because not sure if we're going to be getting RK again anymore. But anyway, this has been Fallout New Vegas. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys around.